Hey guys, JH, welcome to Practice T. And as usual, as the very moment I set up the camera, a tractor will come along. Okay. Maybe we can hear over it. He's going the other way. Okay guys, okay, today what I'm going to call this video is pinning the chin. And I think it's the single most important thing in any golf swing, but vital in channel lock. Because in channel lock we want to keep the trail shoulder closed, and pinning the chin or 5 o'clock nose really does help that. Why does it help it? Because it's back here and it acts as a blocker here. As soon as that moves, even the slightest bit, there's a propensity for the shoulders to want to open. I'm being inundated here, guys. There are planes flying in, tractors. There was nothing here for an hour, but I was doing something else. Now, as soon as I set the camera up, and here comes the tractor now. He's going to actually run over the camera. Anyway, we shall battle on. Aircraft above, tractors to the right. Okay. The most single important thing is this. And I got to tell you guys, absolutely unequivocally, it's the hardest single thing I've ever had to do when I actually concentrate on it. It's almost impossible. And the reason I got switched on to the importance of it was that little video I did on the putting where we're pinning the chin back. Now that's hard to do even with no dynamics relative to speed and force applied, but when you start to apply speed and force, the forces themselves and the speed want to do that, and they want to get you going forward because the mass and the velocity, or the velocity working on the mass, is wanting to take you there. Now guys, the way to train this is if you've got a practice ball or even any golf ball, there will be a name on it or a logo or something. Now with these range balls, they've got a Srixon name on it. Put the ball down with the Srixon name at the back of the ball on the low part of the equator, and fixate your vision on that. And try and keep your vision centralized on that when you hit the ball. Guys, it's hard to do. I mean, I hit some shots yesterday afternoon and it's hard to do. It took me about 20 shots to actually see the ball when I thought that the club was coming on. Yeah, so it's just really, it's just difficult because we haven't done it to the extent that we need to do it, or we've done it in the past. That's the difficulty. It's just a new addition to the neural programs. That's the reality, guys. It's just an addition to the neural programs. But it's a damn hard one, really hard. So it's basically got to feel like this. Now, the great ball strikers of all time, Mo Norman, Jack Nicklaus, Johnny Miller, Gary Player, Sam Snead, every one of them, guys, was here. Now, I've mentioned that before. but that's exactly where they were. Now you'll say, what about Annika Sorenstam? What about David Duval? What about Robert Allenby? They are these guys. They've never seen the ball hit ever. They're here. But they're people that just have extraordinary timing and can swing their arms down, rotate their head and not open their shoulders or get in front of the ball or slide forward. They are three unique individuals. But 99.9% of us can't do that. And 99.9% of world professional golfers can't do that. And that's why you see them all like this. And Player was probably the most definite in doing that. This was Player. Nicholas was unbelievable because Jack was left eye dominant. Now it's not easy to do this, to keep looking at the ball after you've hit it or as you're coming in to hit it if you're right eye dominant. Easy if you're left eye dominant because your left eye is here. But if you're right eye dominant, your right eye is actually is over here. So it wants to get to the ball. So believe it or not, guys, I'm trying to look at the ball out of my left eye. I'm not left eye dominant, but I'm trying to see it out of my left eye. And that made a difference. Yesterday when I was, just seeing it, I think with my right eye, which is my dominant eye, the striking was nowhere near as absolute and definite and quality of contact as when I looked at it with my left eye, because it just made it easier to keep my head back there. Now to get the feeling, guys, don't start out with a full swing, because this has got a lot of velocity in it, and the old habit and the old trait will be hard to breed out of the golf swing, because there's so much velocity in there. So just get whatever. This is a 6-iron. Just get any club, grip it down, and just hit a few shots like that. If anything, guys, feel like that chin is actually going that way further as you hit the golf ball. Now Rory, have a look at Rory. Rory's absolutely excruciating when you look at him physically, how much he has his head back. Rory, yeah. Now just when you do that as a drill, that is hard to do. You don't realise how hard it is to keep your head back, even with a little swing like that. But that's what you really need to do, guys. And when you're doing it, do it with this setting up of the golf ball with the name there, and trying to look underneath the golf ball and try and see it with your lead eye. This lead eye, try and see it there. You may not be able to do that. But even if you can just, I find that if I try to look at it with my right eye, it just cocks my chin a bit. But when I look at it with my left eye, with my lead eye, it just very much lets me focus keeping that chin back. So you may have to do a couple of hundred of these guys, but I promise you the difference it makes in the real ball striking is off the scope. Now when you do that, that feels so foreign, and that clearly, immediately, is a perfect indicator of how much we don't do it, because that feels so foreign to us. We don't feel like that when we hit the ball, but I actually felt like that yesterday in some of the shots that I did hit. I actually felt like that, and boy, it was unbelievable. I actually thought I was pretty disciplined, and that I didn't have this little bit of a sneak preview and get up and watch the ball. I really didn't think I did that, but I do, and I have. I have done that. And it wasn't until I went to this extreme that I realised that I did do it. Yeah, so position the ball. Put it down there with your hand and position it. So you're looking at that. Here I'm looking at the Srixon name. And I want to burn that Srixon into my vision. Got the cups up, guys. And also doing that little drill, while you're doing it, work on your release. Remember, our arms are going this way, the club's going that way. We don't want the club spooning itself or shoving itself out there. We want it to release. We want... Guys, I'll tell you the feeling to have. Feel like your elbow is really pressuring down. Not only your hand pressuring down, but that elbow pressure down. Now, one of the great teachers, I think, in modern times that didn't get the accolade that he should have, because he taught a very, very good system, and that was Jimmy Ballard. And Jimmy Ballard was very much elbows here, elbows down. Keep the pressure down in the elbows. Now, Jimmy taught that his whole life. That's all he ever taught. Never changed. He wanted to do that because he wanted the V. He wanted to maintain the V. This was his V here, or his Y. And if you had the cups up and you had the pressure down in the elbows, you could maintain that. But if you lost the cup, if you got it here and you turned the cup, you lost the V or lost the Y. Now, I thought Jimmy was a great teacher and he didn't get the international acceptance that he should have, but I think that was partly because of Jimmy's personality. He was a very taciturn type guy on occasions, and it was always Jimmy's way or the highway. He just couldn't. He came to Australia to the PGA out here, and he did a presentation here, and it was, guys, I don't want to hear what you're saying. I just don't want to hear it. This is what it is. This is the way it is, and no correspondence entered into it. And I think that kept Jimmy out of the big limelight. I mean, I think he ended up teaching about 300 pros overall. But it kept him out of the big scene because he just didn't have the personality to blend and have a little bit of a conciliatory type attitude. I mean, his system was absolutely, and I applaud him, and I agree with Jimmy. There was no reason for him to change, but he couldn't explain it in the definite terms that he did and be accepted with the nice homogenised world of commercial teaching and television, etc. That's why Jimmy didn't get on the Gold Channel and all that sort of stuff. He had a little time, but he wasn't a fixture. But I think his methodology here, but pushing those elbows down. Now do that, guys, when you're practicing this. We're going to look at that Srixon name there. We're going to stay back. We're going to push those elbows down at the same time. See that pocket's still there, guys, and that hand is turning down. So to get that feeling of cups up and being able to release that club down, the way to keep the cups up is to keep the elbow pressure down, the point of the elbow, keep it pushing down. If you had a big rubber band around here, guys, and it was down came down here and it was anchored down there, imagine that, what that would do with your elbows in terms of pressure down. That's the thought you have to have. But if you do this as a drill, I promise you'll get the feeling. Now you have to position the ball. You've got to physically get it, put it there and see it. Now it's interesting, just in talking here and not concentrating on doing it, none of those shots have I actually seen the club get in there on the ball. That's because my concentration is only, probably 90% instead of 100%. So I'll actually try and see it here. Say, guys, you might have to hit 100 of those, but certainly don't start out hitting full shots. But I got to tell you, when I did get the full shots yesterday and I had that having the pressure down in the elbows, cups up, but actually seeing it and feeling that pressure back. I always get an itchy nose when I come out here. It's got to be something to do with the grass. I notice on the videos I'm always scratching my nose because my nose gets itchy. Don't know why. Got to be something here. Okay, pressured, and this is a dual purpose video, guys. So we're going to have the elbows, the pressuring down in the elbows. Try and scrape your elbows on the ground. This is what it'll feel like in the backswing when you keep pressure down. It'll feel like the elbows, the arms actually bend like that lead arm bends. You'll know you've got pressure in that lead elbow down when you get the feeling that the arm actually wants to do that in the backswing. When it wants to do that in the backswing, you'll know you've got pressure down. When there's no pressure, it'll float. And when it floats, it'll have a tendency to do that. The cup will end up pointing over there. So we've got cups up, guys. We're going to look under the ball. See the Srixon name now. See it, George. See it. And again, threefold. Get that club releasing that way. As we come cup up, the thumb down, and then let that club head have free rein. As long as you get the thumb down, guys, you can get that golf club moving that way past that forearm as much as you like. Because you will lack power if you just get a spooning type, pushing type. If you just get that type of, there's nothing. See how the arm gets away from the body and it gets high? That elbow gets high. That's shoving. We don't want to shove. We want to keep the elbow down and connected here. We've got that connection here. Pressure down in the elbow and fire it that way. Now that's a graphic example of how that lead arm can get away. The club can come up, you won't get any release and you don't get any power in the shot. And this is going to be a pain in the neck. If you do this 100 times, put the ball down. I want to see the Srixon. I want to look at it out of my left eye. Now guys, I've been looking out at my right eye. This is the discipline. Okay, I can be excused, I think, because I'm doing this and I'm getting distracted and there's a lot going on around here. But you have to have this type of discipline. Now I'm going to see that. Look under left eye, George. See guys, I've got that release. See that dead flush centre? Now that's a nice feeling. That'll give you a nice extension in the arms. Just a nice, overall, nice feeling. Come on, JH, discipline. I really try and see this with the left eye. And more pressure down in the elbows. They're coming out of the centre of the club. More lead arm pressure down. Like that. I like that, guys. I just like that hit. May have to do a lot of those. Just get an 8 iron or something. You don't need a 6 iron. Okay. Cups up. Elbow pressure down. Can you swing like that? Can you swing with that pressure down? I promise you guys, if you swing with that pressure down in your elbows, you'll maintain that Y effect. We don't have as much Y as Jimmy did because Jimmy used to set up conventionally. and all his players, Curtis Strange and those guys, Rocco, they've got, you know, forward of ball position, and they're centralised here, and they want to keep that. I'm actually doing a video today for the conventional guys that I teach, and there's going to be some stuff in that conventional which I'll put up on the channel anyway. It's not channel lock, it's just conventional stuff, but it incorporates this. Alright, have a look at that. The name Strix on pressure down. It's hard to do. Okay guys, I'll just... guy wants to bring a tractor across here with some sand in it. He wants to come this way because it's all boggy over there. So I'll just quit here and I'll come back and I'll actually hit a couple of full shots with my version of keeping the chin pinned.